Okay, I want to take about a 3-minute breather here before I really give this message to the police and military. Will you guys get that Switzerland newscast about why Switzerland has the lowest crime rate? Remember that video I gave you this morning? As soon as you get that queued up, I want to play that because it's a message I want to put out there about why their crime rate is so low and how our founding fathers went off the Swiss model. That's really where our model came from, where everyone must own a gun by law, and you have to do drills where you practice hiding them from the government in case the government is taken over by a tyranny. The government teaches the people. If the government ever says give your guns in, that's a tyranny, and under federal law, they are to resist it with lethal force. That's what our founders fought, too. I mean, as soon as they say give us your guns, they are criminal, they are corrupt, they are bad, they are illegitimate, they are evil. And we have just put up with this for far too long in this society. So I want to play this clip and then come back with a special message to those in the establishment that are violating the Bill of Rights and Constitution and are not guardians of the Republic.
50. It's designed to destroy anything standing within its 400-meter trajectory. And there are over 500,000 of them kept in Swiss homes. Guns and shooting are a strong Swiss tradition. Basic military training is mandatory for young men, and afterwards they're required to keep their weapon at home. Mark Heim is the Ticino representative for the lobby group Protel.
Basically, this was my father's military rifle, and of course he got to keep it when he was finished. I have my grandfather's rifle in the office, hanging on the wall. This was mine when I did service, which is quite an old one. It was introduced in 1957. Was used until 1990. And this is my son's. That's the current model. That's what's being used today. That's what we'll be using to shoot the Feldschießen today.
The Feldschießen, or Tiro Federale in Campania as it's known in these parts, is an annual Swiss event, and it's also the largest shooting festival in the world. Roughly 200,000 people come out to target practice all across the country. Ammunition is provided by the government. Heim goes regularly to this range, and it's often a family affair.
It was organized by the government to have a very high state of readiness for the Swiss military and population. The target has always been that within 24 to 48 hours, Switzerland could mobilize a pretty large army, I mean, even by European standards.
But it wasn't the militia that sparked Heim's interest in guns as a young man. It was an unassuming trip to a Holocaust museum.
I was going through all the exhibits and the soap and the lampshades made of people's skin. And while I was looking, I heard a funny noise, and there was an old woman maybe 2 meters from me, and she was trying not to cry. She was sort of sobbing very quietly. She was holding it back. If she had been a few meters further away, I wouldn't have heard her. And she obviously had gone through that. That's when the whole impact of it hit me. And I promised myself I would never be in her situation. I would want to be free, never in a situation where somebody could, march us off to ovens or prisons or just take away our freedom. The key to freedom is the ability to be able to defend yourself. And if you don't have the tools to do that, then you are at the mercy of whoever wants to put you away. And the tools for that are guns.
Absolutely. Well said there in that short video. You see, we got the secret Homeland Security and MIAC documents earlier in the year. We broke it. People couldn't believe it when it said Ron Paul supporters were terrorists, gun owners were terrorists, returning veterans were the main threat, that Homeland Security was really built to rob the American people. It's a internal police force like the Soviets or the Nazis had to make you thumb scan, face scan, national ID card to buy and sell. They're now saying if you're on the no-fly list, that they just put you on with no evidence, you won't be able to buy a gun. This is the hardcore tyranny. And I know the police and military are brainwashed how the public doesn't like them and they're the only line of defense against anarchy and, oh, they're out there stopping lawlessness. And to a great extent, that's true because they're doing some things that are good and then a lot of things that are bad as well. And you have a federal government that has been taken over by private offshore banks. And it's illegitimate and criminal and violates the Bill of Rights and Constitution from one end to the other. And that's a very simple equation that I know you can understand. Servants of the system. I have seen police, I have seen judges, I have seen bureaucrats relish setting people up, relish framing people, relish beating somebody up and then saying that they assaulted you. I have seen how we've been trained that evil and corruption and deception is manly and cool. And Jack Bauer on 24 tortures innocent people, but he's a good guy. And all these other programs brainwashing us, turning the American people into evil, corrupt creatures. Our country has been illegitimately hijacked. It's bigger than the political parties. It's a financial dictatorship. And the government is a crooked, corrupt fraud, period. Now, the American people don't want physical war with the criminal system, but it's going to want physical war, and it's engaged in physical war against us every day. And people everywhere are waking up to this injustice, and I just want the police and military and bureaucrats and everyone else to realize the American people and the people of the world who are being tyrannized are human beings. We have value. When you falsely charge us or falsely arrest us or falsely persecute us, or when these grand juries become kept creatures of the prosecutor and engage in corruption against good people, throw the book at innocent patriots but release violent offenders, you are committing massive frauds and massive crimes. And it doesn't matter if your corrupt system gives you a green light to do it and tells you it's okay. You know in your gut it's wrong and it's not cute and it's not funny. Now, as a society, we are at a crossroads. And I just ask servants of the establishment, even if you've engaged in corruption and lied to yourself about it and rationalized why you're doing it, it's not too late for you to turn back and just at least start being a better person and start treating people like human beings and stop engaging in corruption and violations of the Bill of Rights and Constitution. Because the bankers have decided to bring us into depression. They've decided to set up a police state. They've decided to try to forcibly inoculate people. They've decided to corner people and force the population to fight back. And more of that is going to happen. And in the end, the police and military that try to engage the American people in tyranny are going to be known as enemies of the Republic and are going to be known in history as scum and are going to be brought to justice. So you need to listen to me very carefully right now. It is time for you to unharden your hearts and to really reflect this weekend on who you are and what you are and who you want to be in this short life. It is now time for you to do the right thing. I hope you'll do the right thing, but at least reflect on what our country and what our world has turned into and ask yourself, do you want to change course in your life? Because if you don't know this government's corrupt, if you don't know our society's imploding, if you don't know that the government's illegitimate, and if you don't understand it's growing like a cancer, you are blind. Something is wrong with you. Something is fundamentally screwed up with you. There, I've said it.